You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks and Peter Kapar of pTree's Workshop. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media platforms.
Welcome to episode 197 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week Pete got finished on, Dan came down with a case of shingles, and despite doing this for 4 years, and I'll quote a great poet Drake here, started from the bottom, we're still here. What's up, Dan?
Not a whole lot. I'm still alive and kicking, and that's all that matters, really, right?
Yeah, things haven't gotten any better. They haven't gotten worse, and that's what matters.
That's exactly right. They haven't gotten worse.
Yeah,
they haven't gotten worse.
Man,
you know, go ahead.
Oh, I said a wise man once said, things can't get worse if you're at the bottom, right?
I was gonna lead into the Patreons. I was gonna be like, do you know what hasn't gotten worse?
Go.
Oh, thank you, Pete. The patrons.
Since you did the segue, I'm just gonna let you take it.
Patrons haven't gotten worse. It's only getting better over there.
It's only gotten better. That's the only thing that's gotten better.
We've gotten 2 new patrons this week. We got Joel Balestra, and sorry if I butcher these names. I'm really sorry. And Heather Jablonski.
Woo! That's one of my people.
I think I got the names right. I feel good about the names.
That's my family, mi familia, man.
Do you claim all the skis? Is that like the thing that's in Poland?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm all about the skis. And then it's skis and CKYs at the end and SKYs. If there's a Y, it's just Americanized.
SKY, that's Sky. I can.
Yeah.
That's
words are hard. Those are my people.
Speaking of my people, let's talk about the VIP patrons that we love to shout out every week. These people go above and beyond to help us out. And they are Max and Mindy Coons of Stubby K Studio, Justin at Calvary Custom, Scott Shirk at Red Lake Custom Woodworks, Bill Burkle from WTB Woodworking, Malcom, Mr. France at Bossa Nova Woodworks, Matt Maynard of Patriotic Pines, Justin Bailey from Campfire Woodworks, Knit Brim from Nick Brim Woodworking, Patrick Gensel from
Patrick Gensel.
Victor Argama, Max Reed, and not Alyssa at Reed Design. Gillette Woodworks, Jesse McIntyre from Sage Hill Woodcraft, Justin Frazier from Frazier Canyon Woodworks, Charlie Coons from Stubby K Studio, and Scotty Holland from Elevated Wood Design. Speaking of Holly, not Holly. Speaking
Holly
of
Scotty.
Holly Scott. Speaking of Scotty Holland, he does a little thing on Wednesdays with Lefty, our good friend Lefty. I think they took a break. What do they call it? They call it
a hiatus.
Between two woodworkers.
Oh, I thought you were asking about what a break is called.
No, they took a hiatus. Yeah,
a sabbatical, if you will.
They took a hiatus, but I think they're back. They're doing the Between Two Woodworkers on IG every Wednesday night. Just want to give him a little shout out because Scotty's a VIP patron. So yeah.
I mean, we could have put that in the Maker News, Dan.
Oh crap.
Oh, well, that's fine. No, this is
scratch all that.
They just got to if you guys forget about all this.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you to all of our patrons. We love you long time. If you want to join the army, as we lovingly call it, go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop podcast, and you get signed up for one of our 4 tiers over there, and we'll welcome you into our bosom.
The warm bosom of AWP. What tier is that? Because I want to avoid that one.
Not telling you. You got to find out.
Yeah, you just surprise.
Surprise, warm bosom.
Surprise, warm AWP bosom.
Yeah. What's up?
Speaking of bosoms, we're also going to be doing a Patreon call in a coming month or so. So it's going to be either April or May. We're going to try to figure that out. We're going to do a post soon, so stay tuned on Patreon. We're going to try to do it in this half of the year. We're going to do a 1 hour long. It's open to all patrons, all paid tiers of patrons, and you guys are just welcome to join us and hang out for an hour, which always turns into 2 hours, and have a grand old time. And we usually just go in there, hang out. We go in there, hang out. If you have any like dying questions that you want to ask us, you can ask us, or you could just chill with us and laugh with us. And talk about hairstyles, craft beers, our favorite Legos, like everything.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
all the things,
all those things.
Nothing is off limits, except for the one thing. You know what the one thing?
The one thing is, yeah, Nick Brim. You know what's off limits.
You know what you did.
You know what you've done. We've got some exciting news because yes, this week we have a sponsor, and it's someone super awesome and very close to my heart because it's someone that I've been following for a very long time. And that is PwnCNC, also known as PwnCNC, also known as Daniel from PwnCNC,
Diana
and his wife Diana. I've watched him like build this from the ground up over pretty much my entire CNCing and woodworking career. And it's just been so cool to watch him grow from like a one-man shop, getting it all figured out. He was one of those first guys too that like really figured out all the hardware and like how to design every little bit around the hardware he was getting. Everything looked so professional, was 3D printed. And I still to this day use their hold downs on my CNC. They're great because if you CNC right through them, they're not going to damage your bits. But you guys know we love our CNCs, and what better way to show out the love to our CNCs than add a little flair and some upgrades on them. So we're going to be upgrading ours a little bit. We want to show them a little love, a little bit of maintenance. But they've got a lot of really cool stuff on their site. Make sure to check it out. It's all going to be in the show notes. They have everything from just plug and play spindle systems, which is big because I had to get one off of Amazon and learn how to solder, and that was a nightmare, and I messed it up several times until I got help from
That's massive for me. Anything that I don't have to wire myself, that's a total win.
Yeah, so plug and play entire system built and designed by them. They got accessories, and all of this comes with wonderful support through their support portal. So make sure to check out the site. All the links are going to be down in the description. And if you use code AWP, you'll save 5% off of your purchase. So check out the link in the description and go support those guys because they're one of us. They built their company around the maker community, and they're constantly adding new accessories, and we're excited to see what they're going to do this year.
Yeah.
So check them out there.
Well done, Pete.
Also, welcome to the family.
Huge love. Love to support a small base company that has grown and it's become what it's become, and it's really great to have those guys on board.
And we had a great time at their booth at I was gonna say Maker Camp, Workbench Con. I saw all the stuff that they did to their bamboo printers. They're all pimped out with the yellow flare and some mods and things. And I was like, oh, yeah, I should try to pimp mine out too, make it look a little cooler. So, Dan, a 3D printer is this thing that actually I'll explain it later.
Yeah, tell me when I'm older. At their booth at Workbench Con, I actually made a little dust brush. They had a whole little kit that you can make there. You could sit down and make it from like the ground up. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a sweep.
A sweep.
I was trying to make a pun there. I don't know.
Thought it was a
swoosher. It was a swoosher, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, should we jump into maker news, or should we do what's on the bench?
Let's talk about maker news, shall we?
Yeah. Well, we can't do maker news without doing this.
Good news, everyone.
There we go. So, Dan, you wanna kick off the maker news?
I will start by talking about our buddy Chris from A Glimpse Inside.
Ooh, what's he up to now?
Yes?
Not once or 16 times.
Yeah. Chris, first of all, Chris is an awesome maker. I mean, we love him. We've had him on the podcast, and we took his class at Workbench Con, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a great class. So Chris has redesigned one of his products, his OG glue caddy, and he launched it. He relaunched it this week. Yeah, Not only that, but like he's doing
he's running a sale right now too. Yeah, so go check that out. Go support him. He's a good dude. He makes good things, and he makes it for our community, which is awesome.
Yeah. Once again, love to support people within the community. So Big shout out to Chris. Another thing I want to talk about, you may have seen this in the news recently because it's been popping up a lot in not only in my my feed of makers and woodworkers, but it's been popping up in my political feeds, which is, and I don't want to get political here, but apparently Sawstop is making some waves in the political world, and the way that
Are they starting a fourth political party? The
they are
Sawstop
not.
Party?
No, but they should. So apparently the government's talking about like mandating that technology in all table saws going forward. So it's been pretty big news. I mean, people are either up in arms about it, or they're like, this is cool, this is what this trade needs. And it's pretty fun, like it's to read everybody's opinions in all the different forms. So I've read opinions on Reddit, I've read opinions in Instagram comments, Facebook comments, and you know how internet comments go. Like it
How do they go, Dan?
It could be a dumpster fire at times, let's just say. But I think it's a cool thing. I really do. If Sawstop is willing to share that technology, and apparently, according to Stumpy Nubs, if you haven't watched Stumpy Nubs' latest video, James Harrison's, he goes in depth on the whole like issue with Sawstop and them releasing their technology and it being mandated for all table saws moving forward in the US. But apparently it hasn't passed like the House or the Senate yet. So it's just kind of like,
here's the thing, even if it's not mandated, the fact that it's available now and it's going to start becoming more available and more tools, not just, I mean, they're going to figure out how to do this. Like, they have the anti-kickback on a lot of these circular saws now and not miter saws, but track saws. Like, all this technology is great. And I don't mean to be negative here, but to anyone that makes the argument of like, well, when I was growing up, well, no, that's stupid. Because you know what?
When you were growing up, asbestos was okay to have in your house.
You know what? Like, there's medicine now that cures polio. Like there's, why should we live with polio? We got rid of it. We got it. We made it better. So why should we live in the future where people are losing their fingers to table saws?
Yes.
That shouldn't happen. There should be a safety feature.
I'm with you 100%. I believe that we should look at this positively and think about this like it's a positive step forward in the community and in the trade and the everything. So I'm trying to look at this positively and not talk about, like, I've seen people make arguments about like, well, it's my liberty and it's my freedom. Like,
get out of here. It's like
when they really mandated your freedom to cut a finger off.
Like seatbelts, same thing. Same, like people used to be up in arms about having to wear seatbelts.
Have you seen that old video from like the 80s when they first mandated seatbelts?
Was it seatbelts or was it like drinking?
I think it was it may have been seatbelts or drinking. Driving, I can't remember.
Oh, I can't like leave work and have a beer on a like something like that.
Yes, you may have been drinking. That is just, well, that just opens your eyes. Like you see that video now and you're like, oh my God, we used to live like that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
also back in the day, cars didn't really have any airbags or anything.
No. I mean, when I was a kid back in the 80s, we would crawl into the back window and lay up on that back window seal.
Oh yeah.
My mom and dad had I think they had a 1978 Monte Carlo. That car was a badass, let me tell you what. However, in the back seat, it had that giant back window where two kids could fit up in that back window. And we would ride there when we were driving down the road. Nowadays,
dude, it's so weird. I was safe. On the road trip we did down to Nashville, like I was telling Emma, she was like falling asleep, like just hop in the back seat and like lay down across the seat. She's like, but I can't seatbelt in that way. I'm like, that's fine. You'll be okay. And she's like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, all right, I love you. I'm not going to argue this because you're right. You're right. It's the safer thing to do. But like growing up, I would lay across the bench seat in the back. And if my dad slammed into brakes, well, now I'm just in the footwell. Like it just fell to the floor and I have to get back up. Like it's whatever. It basically, listen, this is all good news. This is all crazy good safety stuff. There's going to be a lot more of this on other tools because here's the thing, like Sawstop technology, as far as safety goes, guess what? That's kind of old now. There's tech out there that stops the blade instantaneously and drops the whole saw without ruining the blade.
Without
You can
damaging the
restart
blade.
it.
Yeah, I think what Felder has that?
Felder has that, I think. Yep.
On
exactly.
their sliding table saw.
Yes, on the beefy saw, and it's just so cool. Like it's going to be nothing but good things for the future.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at it positively. I feel like it's a positive step forward. So, whatever your take is on it, hopefully you see it the same way we do. But if not, we can't change your mind. But at least go watch Stumpy's latest video. That's actually a really good video. I highly recommend it. It's like 15 minutes long.
Well, speaking of making the internet mad, so if we can stay on the same subject, Ben Myers.
Yes.
Ben Myers just straight up drove his tractor over his Onefinity. And
his 3,000-pound tractor.
And oh my God, wait, let me get to that part. So like Instagram, everyone was like, oh, super cool. That's awesome. Whatever. Like, oh, so beefy. TikTok still fairly supportive. He did it on Reddit too. And Reddit was having none of it. They were like, Kubota, that's clearly 1,500 pounds. And like, there's all these, like people were throwing numbers at him, like, get a real tractor. And like, you're missing the point. And
right?
Then,
I mean, 1,500 pounds is still nothing to like shake a stick at.
Yeah.
Driving over a CNC rail. And after he drove over the rail, like it was still fine.
Oh, there was
all the parts still moved.
I don't think I saw any flex.
Like flexed at all. Nothing.
Yeah. So I was actually pretty impressed. I'm also impressed that he got the traction with the actual tractor.
He put it in 4-wheel drive or something, and then he drove over it. And he put so he mounted it to some 2x4s that were 6 feet long, so it wouldn't tip over. Yeah.
I was impressed.
Science. But yeah, that's a fun reel, and it's funny to see how Instagram reacts versus how Reddit reacts.
Yes.
And if anybody's familiar with Reddit is like a cesspool of commenters. It's awful. It's worse than YouTube comments, frankly.
Yes, it really is. It is. Yeah, there's a hierarchy.
On Reddit, there's still a monicum of like anonymity, right? People still feel a little bit anonymous there because you're not using your actual name. You can use whatever name you want, and people will just be like, really?
Yeah, mine's pTree_2875. No one's gonna know who I am. Come on, let's be real.
I still have my old Reddit name. I've never changed it. It's still LD Palablo.
At cox.net.
Yeah. No, not at cox.net.
You got rid of that email now, right? Because you have to change.
Yeah, I don't have the Cox anymore. Cox is gone.
You still got the AOL and MSN now.
Yeah, I still got AOL. Speaking of, this is like way off topic.
Okay.
Way off topic. Did you realize Yahoo's still a thing? Like yes, it's still a company?
Yeah. It's still it's still search engine. People still use the emails.
My buddy Sam works for Yahoo still right here in Omaha. And I was like, wait a minute, stop the presses. Like
works
you work for Yahoo?
I knew the website was still up, but I didn't realize people still work there.
For Yahoo. I was like, shut your mouth. Huh. You work for Yahoo? They actually pay you? Yeah. So it's still a place. I had no idea. Anyway, sorry, tangent.
No, I mean, I didn't realize anyone still works there. I thought it was just like one of those things where like the website just like Space Jam, like it's just the website's still up,
just continues and like nobody's running
it just auto updates itself.
What is going on? How is this still a thing?
Well, speaking of incredible futuristic top of the line websites, Dan, you want to talk about Hamilton Dilbek?
Oh yeah.
See the segue.
What he's doing with the CNC with me, it's fantastic. And I'm not getting paid to talk about this. I am a member of the CNC with me that he started. If you go back to the episode that we had him on, he was talking about how he wanted to get that up and going, and that was his plan. Well, it's up and going now.
Thanks to us.
Yeah. But take a little credit.
Take a little credit.
No, he's got like 700, 800 members.
Fantastic.
It's phenomenal.
Listen, he's got the material to give something to everyone. I mean, he's putting in the work. So
every week he releases a video on Fridays, and that video coincides with a project that you can make alongside him on the website CNC with me. And he releases all the files and everything and all the instructions, and it's just really, really great. And I've downloaded a bunch of the files, and I'm going to cut them out and actually sell them at a craft fair that I have coming up that I'm going to talk about at What's on My Bench. So huge shout out to Hamilton. What he's doing is phenomenal. I don't know of anybody else who's doing anything like that currently. So big props to you, Hamilton. Also, this past week, he had somebody come out to his shop and was grinding stumps for him, because he's got this big piece of land and his shop is in a barn, and he has some stumps around his property, and somebody came out to grind the stumps. Well, not only did they grind the stumps, but they
Is that a euphemism?
No, that's a literal thing. They came out to grind the stumps, and not only did they grind the stump, but they ground the power to his barn.
No.
Yes. So now he has to go through that whole like rigmarole that Coffee went through when he was trying to get power to his shop. They got to come out. They got to put down a new pole. It's going to be weeks or whatever. So he released a video this past week, and he had to take a spindle out because he doesn't have 220 in his shop anymore. He doesn't have power at all. But he was able to run his Onefinity CNC with the Makita router, I think with a battery pack.
Like a Jackery?
A battery pack or a small generator.
Dude, that's, I mean, listen, if you can run it with a Jenny, why not?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
cool.
That how devastating would that be? You open a business and it's going well and things are great, and then boom, like just like that, like the power gets shut off to your shop and you might be down for weeks. I mean, I can't imagine how maddening that would have been.
I'm really glad that he's got the website, he's got his own plan sales and all that stuff, because that's providing some business. And obviously he's probably running a generator right now, so he's still getting some work done, but dang.
Oh, he's getting work done. That guy puts in work. So yeah, seriously, go check out his website, cncwithme.com. He's doing great things over there, and huge props to you. Also, at WorkbenchCon, he allowed everybody to put stickers on his machine, because his machine was the one at WorkbenchCon for the Onefinity crew, right? Because they didn't want to haul a machine. I think they had the Elite Masso there. They didn't want to haul one across the country, so they just hit up Hamilton because he's local to Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, can we use your machine? They did it in the past, I think. So
I think last year he had the smaller one.
Yeah,
and they brought a new one to WorkbenchCon, and then that was to become Hamilton's, because they work together. So like, it went to his shop, and that's why it left the shop again. Like, well, it's the WorkbenchCon one. Bring it out.
Something like that. They had some sort of deal. However, Hamilton let everybody at WorkbenchCon put their stickers on his machine, as long as it wasn't on like a working part.
Yeah,
you had to put it on something that was like, I think black. That was the deal. I put my sticker on the best spot. It gets the most camera time.
Oh, is it right on the spindle mount?
It's right above the spindle. So if you go watch his video, Daniel Dunlap Woodworks is like, blam, plastered right there.
I bet you there's one sticker that gets more visibility than yours.
What's that?
The Barnett billboard.
You can't see it on Hamilton's CNC, so
you can see that thing from space.
Yeah, I know. Barnett sticker was like 24 by 24. It was massive. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about?
Wow, me? It's my turn. I've been talking this whole time too. So, one of the things I want to talk about is Katz Moses just released a new jig, which is super cool. I actually got to try it or like play around with it in Keith's shop because he was testing it out, and it's for making crosscut sleds. So it's cool. You essentially do a plunge cut, like, or put down, your base for your sled with the rails on it already, sliding in your table saw, and then you raise the blade through your table saw and make a slit, and then you're able to use this jig to essentially line up perfectly to the curve of that opening, and it gives you a perfect 90, and you clamp on the fence to that, lift it up, and essentially just secure it right with that clamp on it.
So it cuts out a lot of the guessing time and trying to dial in that perfect squareness.
You get a perfect crosscut slit, which is really nice. Yeah, very nifty. I do appreciate a good like aluminum anodized tool, or what's the other one? Well, it's powder coating and an anodized. I think they're anodized.
I think it's anodized. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It looks
appreciate
cool.
anything that's going to save me time. Honestly.
Yeah, that too. And the
Time
thing is,
savers are worth their weight in gold. frankly.
I use like one crosscut sled, and then I go to Keith's shop and he has like 3 or 4, depending on like different sizes, different whatever. And I'm like,
I have one crosscut sled, but that thing is massive. Like I always, whenever I make a crosscut sled for me, I make it as big as I possibly can make and fit on my actual table saw. Because I feel like if I can't use that table saw sled for every part that I cut, well then it's useless. So
Also,
I try to make it as big as possible.
I
but
tend
then it's
to like
awkward
just
to use.
stack mine like somewhere near the table saw. I like put it on the bottom part of it, like whatever's furthest away from you, and that thing like once every couple of days just falls straight on the floor, and like there's no way that thing is still 90. It tries its best, but it's definitely not 90 anymore.
My massive table saw sled, I always take it off my table saw and put it right behind me, and it leans up against this other bench that I have right behind me. I've had it to where like I didn't set it down properly or perfectly, and it has fallen down on my foot when I'm wearing flip-flops. Not a good idea.
You wear flip-flops in a shop, Dan? That's weird.
In the
Let's
summer.
talk about that.
In the summer. I mean, it's coming up.
Sometimes
I've already broke out the flip-flops for this year. I mean, it's April now, so
they're there in a glass case, like in case of hot
they're
weather.
Getting warmed up currently.
Break glass.
Break glass in case of warm weather.
Oy. Oh, so the last thing I want to talk about is Maker Collab University has a whole series of classes this month around 2 subjects. One is finishing and applying different finishes, sanding, things like that. And then the other one is on Shopify basics, what to do before you start a Shopify, all that fun stuff. So a lot of the questions that I was getting in my class about I kind of touched on Shopify and running your own website and all that stuff. They're going to go in full depth and detail in there. And then if you also sign up, you're able to obviously get all the back catalogs. So I know for a fact that people are watching the one I taught, because I talked about where you can sign up through a link. And if people click that link, you get 40 free listings. They get 40 free listings. I've gotten like 3 or 4 of those emails already. They're like, hey, you've encouraged someone to start a shop. And I'm like, yes, nice. Yes. So that always helps out. So go check that out if you're interested in doing some Shopify, or if you need some help with finishing. Both great classes to check out this month. And there's going to be about 4 or 5 different classes that they're going to be teaching on those subjects.
Before we move on, can I talk about how awful April Fool's Day is real quick?
It's the worst holiday ever.
It's not a holiday.
I basically did not even look on Instagram on Monday.
I stay clear of the internet on April Fool's. April 1st. I cannot stand it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old or what, but I despise it with a passion. But I felt that.
I don't got time for that
way. I felt that way for years, and I don't know what it is. I don't feel like I'm generally a grumpy guy. I don't know, like fairly positive 78% of the time.
You're positive for grumpiness. They did a test.
I hate April Fool's Day. I really do.
It's really,
I don't know what it is.
Because here's the thing. There's all this silly stuff, right? Like obviously you're like, this is dumb. Like this is clearly not real. Yeah. And then there's occasionally 1 or 2 things that you're like, oh snap.
That might be it. I think it's because I fell for some stuff in the past.
It's not real.
I fell for some stuff in the past, and maybe that's it. I've been burnt one too many times, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm done with this day. I'm signing out.
It was like I went on like on TikTok that morning, and I was just like scrolling through stuff, and every other thing was some kind of either that or people pranking each other, and I'm like, this is not my feed. I'm done. I'm just not looking at the internet today. So April Fools.
Like I'm still seeing videos of the freaking baloney folder. Have you seen that? Come on.
You sent that, wasted like minutes of my life watching, trying to figure it out. I was on a work call and I was watching it without audio too. It
wasn't me.
By Justin Bailey.
Probably. He's the worst. Anyway, April Fools.
So I think I talk about this every year, but hold on. What day is this holiday? Oh, it is April 1st. Okay, so April 1st in Poland is very different. And I've talked about this.
We've heard about this before.
We have, and I talk about it every year. Because like if you're gonna have,
remind me.
It's called Śmigus-Dyngus.
It's it's all coming back to me.
And that's the show title right there. Śmigus-Dyngus.
You're gonna have to spell that for me, bro.
It's a she, which is an S with a line above it.
I mean, you could text me.
Like when you're trying to write the word blasé and there's got a little accent mark.
I don't know how to spell blasé. You're really going out on a limb here.
So
to assume I know how to spell blasé.
Śmigus-Dyngus is essentially a water balloon or water bucket fight day. It's like you just dump water. It's boys used to dump water on girls that they liked, and it was like the holiday. Also, it's freaking April. It's freezing out. But
isn't it cold all the time in Poland? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Isn't it in the Arctic Circle?
It's more like Connecticut. Like it's a little cold.
Oh, it's very expensive. I get it. I get it. Randy understands.
A lot of turtlenecks. A lot of sailing, things like that. But Śmigus-Dyngus is basically just like a water balloon day. Although they don't have balloons in Poland, they haven't invented them yet. So
is it pig intestines? Intestines filled with
like water guns and a lot of like dumping of buckets. Like everyone's just winning football games all day.
It's like the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, we got it, coach. Yeah, like that stuff. It's just not Gatorade. It's just Poland Spring water. Because all water in Poland is Poland Spring. Just a heads up, in case you guys were wondering.
There's a large percentage of our listenership has no idea what Poland Spring does.
I mean, you don't know. Like maybe Radek listens to this. He probably doesn't. He lives in like South America now.
Oh, Poland Springs. It's a bottle. It's a brand of bottle of water on the East Coast.
It is.
Or is that just everywhere?
It's northeast.
Okay.
It's like Zephyr Hill, except it's not poison. Or Deer Park, same thing, but it's good. Like it's Poland Spring is the best water out there, and I'm not just
the only bottle of water I drink is Smart Water because
it's like imagine Dasani, but like they don't kill kittens to make each bottle. Like it's that kind of thing. So. Poland Spring it's really good water. I don't know what it is.
Anyway, why are we talking about bottled water?
Because Śmigus-Dyngus.
Oh, Śmigus-Dyngus.
April Fool's, baby. And that's not an April Fool's joke. It is Thursday. It's the 4th. 4th, yeah.
Yeah, it's the 4th. 4-4.
Yeah.
Get on
National Water Fight Day. We should do this.
Yeah, we missed it. Dang. Maybe next year.
If the podcast ever falls on April Fool's, Śmigus-Dyngus.
I'd be down with that. I'm more okay with Śmigus-Dyngus than I am.
That was pretty good, man.
April Fools. I'll tell you that.
That was pretty good. Well, Daniel, what do we do
that's it for Maker News.
Well, I think
do we have a going away like this segment is done?
Bad news, everyone. We're done.
Did you play the bad news? I can't remember.
Well, I did the
good news, everyone.
I did that one,
good.
but there's
Good.
I should just have it in reverse. So
we have the technology.
We have the technology. But speaking of having the technology, Dan,
what's on my bench?
What is on your bench?
You know what's on my bench. Why even go through it?
Well, I know there's not a lot of dust on your bench.
No,
because
actually, that's a very good point.
All your poop and you got it all together.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't poop. Okay,
it was wood poop.
Look, we've been talking about doing a Dan shop makeover for a couple weeks now. I think ever since Workbench Con, actually, because I talked to Nick and Braden at Workbench Con. I was like, hey guys, I need all the help. So we actually did it. Nick and Braden came over. We took everything out of my shop. Excuse me. I got dust in my throat still. It's been 6 days.
Come on, man.
We took everything out of my shop, put it in the driveway, blew out the shop, cleaned up all the dust, put everything back, got rid of a bunch of things. I had to hire a roll-off dumpster to throw things out. My shop. Really? Yeah, I did. I threw out a bunch of stuff. Most of it sawdust. We cleared out 3 50-gallon drums of sawdust just from like what was on the floor.
Just your table saw.
Yeah. Oh, my table saw was packed with dust.
Dude,
there's a reel on my page. Braden's like, I'm just gonna shove the leaf blower in here and hit the trigger.
Yeah,
I'm like, hold on, I'm gonna do this in slow-mo.
I love that you were like, you didn't try to vacuum up any of it. You were just like, no, hold my beer, because there was probably beer. Watch this, just leaf blower in there.
Yeah, full power. We made sure the leaf blower had a full battery.
Full power, slow-mo.
Anyways, it is a pleasure to be in my shop currently. It is an absolute pleasure. I cannot thank Nick and Braden enough. Nick from Knit Brim Woodworking and Braden from Little Bug. Thank you guys so much. You're lifesavers. I owe you upwards of $5 each.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I did take them out for burgers and beer for like
Only because Ethnic
through.
Sandwiches is closed now. That's
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. You had to
you
go
know,
with something. Went with American Fare.
praise be Ethnic Sandwiches will live in infamy. But yeah, we went for burgers and beer over at a local burger place.
Nice. I look forward to those burgers and beer.
I'm super stoked to have a clean, organized shop. And I have actually been cleaning at the end of every day to try to keep it that way as long as possible. And I'm even like, so it got so bad that like when I would go to a new machine, like I wouldn't even turn on the dust collector. Like I'm like, it's clogged, it doesn't work. What's the point? But now, you know, I'm like going to each machine, make sure all the vents are closed, open the vent for the machine, and
I can't imagine living like that.
Trying to be a proper, good little woodworker. And so far, so good.
Little.
Hey, speaking of, I'm getting a little littler, little tinier.
There's
little
less
smaller.
of you. There's definitely less of you.
I'm down 15 pounds since work.
It's because you coughed up all the dust that you had in your body.
Have you ever seen a cat cough up a hairball? I coughed up a dust ball. Like
dust ball.
A walnut ball, if you will.
Dan just coughed up a whole recession. Well, I'm glad your shop's cleaner now.
Yeah,
did you get rid of that 2x4 rack on that one wall? That's all gone?
We did. Yeah, Braden
about
talked me into that. Braden talked me into that. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. That's just holding a bunch of garbage. And we moved the clamp rack from where it used to be. And I don't know if you're familiar with my shop, dear listener. we moved the clamp rack from like it was in such a way that like it was up on a wall and it was kind of blocking the door. So when you came out into my shop, you kind of had to like duck and weave around the clamp rack to get out of my shop.
Dodge.
So, the rest of and all my parallel clamps were leaning up against the wall on the floor. So we took the clamp rack, moved it against the other wall that had this awful like plywood and 2x4 shelving that I made years and years ago. And Braden put up the clamp rack over there, and now all my parallel clamps and all my other clamps are up on the wall and out of the way. And it's just, I'm telling you, it's like a real woodworking shop. I feel like I could show the shop off on YouTube now. Like I'd be proud.
You got to wipe down the tops of your pipes though. They're all brown still. I noticed that.
Look, stop being so freaking judgmental, wouldn't you?
Polish. Say Polish. That's fine. So
really.
Funny thing about when you were doing the post shop tour, my first reaction was like, "It looks the same." But the other reaction was, I actually haven't seen that wall where the rack used to be, like where the shelving used to be, and it clicked in my brain. I'm like, I never see it in his videos. Like your shots are always out the garage door towards the CNC,
I do that strategically.
And when you do stories, it's very much angled towards the ceiling.
I strategically do that because I was very like embarrassed of my shop.
You got to get some wall control.
I didn't want to show too much of my shop because it was quite literally embarrassing.
You don't want to show off your rack on social media. I get it.
Yeah, but not without being paid.
You got to get some kind of like bigger shelving unit or some kind of more organized wall storage. Like you might need some wall control in there or something like that.
Baby steps.
Hey,
I'm very happy with the way things are currently. I'm very happy with the way things are currently. I'm still very busy. Etsy's still like controlling my life.
Oh, I hate change. You kids.
I don't know what's going on, and I feel like I say this every week. I don't know what's going on, but you know, I continue to stay busy. Tables are popping off. I currently have 9, maybe 10 tables in my queue that I need to get done. So I'm very grateful for that because like if you go back and listen to our goals for the beginning of the year, I said that I wanted to start migrating into more like furniture and small furniture builds and stuff like that.
Breakdown furniture.
And it's popping off and I'm happy about it. So, and inserts and bow ties are still keeping me busy. So there's that, but it's nice to do it all in a clean and organized shop. It's amazing how much more motivated one is when they're in a space that they feel good about. You know what I mean?
I can't work in my shop unless it's like the surfaces are cleaned off. When I got that kitchen island out of there and like cleaned out my shop, it was like a different space for me.
Yeah.
And then now, like 2 weeks later, I'm like, it's not enough space again. Even though everything's clean, I'm like, and you.
Yeah, it's a great mental thing. Like it's weird. I've noticed the change. Like,
it feels better when you're in a clear space.
Yes, absolutely.
It
puts you in a better mental state for sure.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like your shop is bright enough?
Yeah, it's plenty bright. I have a lot of lights in there. Yes.
So I noticed like many lights, yes, but it was you had yellow lights, you had white lights because you were kind of just giving a full tour. So you have a mix of lights in there, which is
I do have a mix of colored lights, which is not the
like,
best look for any sort of like photographer, but
and then like a mix of that and like prison bulbs where you just have like one light bulb in the ceiling still on, like over your CNC. Isn't it just that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna order some Barina lights and just ship them to your house. And just turn your whole shop into like bright.
The light system, quote unquote, the lighting system in there over several months, and I was just buying stuff whenever it'd go on sale. And I tried to buy the same color temperature light, but it's all from different brands, so it's not exactly perfect.
When's your birthday again? Christmas, right? Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll do it for my birthday. I will send you.
Oh, you're so kind.
New lights.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with the lighting situation.
I'm gonna send Braden lights so that he helps you install them, because if I send them to you, they'll just sit there in a box.
That
tracks.
Yes.
Yes.
That's accurate. Actually, one of the things we threw away was some old lights that I had just laying around in a box.
Also, I'm gonna call you out on something that you ended up doing in the end. That you weren't gonna do, but luckily Nick and Braden were there and they whipped your button shape. You were just gonna like throw out stuff that they were both like, sell this, just do a story. Yeah. And you sold all of it.
I sold a bunch of stuff through the Facebook marketplace. Well, no, actually, I put it all in my stories. I didn't even have to sell it on the Facebook marketplace.
It all went through that.
I sold like $400 worth of stuff.
Yeah, dude. You never know. Sometimes you're like, I'm just gonna throw this out. Like, list it or do a story about it.
Yeah. I was gonna put it on the Facebook marketplace, and I put that in my stories. It's like, look, if nobody buys this through here, I'm just gonna have to put it on the Facebook marketplace. And everybody bought the stuff I listed. I had a carbide create router for the CNC, 65 millimeter. What is that? A base?
Yep.
I sold a Veritas shoulder plane, a really nice shoulder plane that I really liked, but like it sat in my shop for a year unopened, and I was like, well, I'm gonna sell this. I got it in an estate sale last summer. I sold some other things. A marking gauge, a Veritas marking gauge. I sold, God, I can't even remember. It was several things. Oh, an old dust boot for an 80 millimeter spindle.
Hang on, man. Yeah. And it's such an odd items, and they went like that.
Yeah, like pretty quick.
You just got to do the stories.
Yeah.
You're kind
of if you're sitting on a bunch of old stuff, list them for sale. Make a few bucks. Put a few dollars in your pocket.
Tens of dollars.
Anyway, what's
take out two guys for
bench
burgers?
What's on your bench?
My bench? Dan?
Yeah. Not that kitchen island.
It's not. No, actually, we've been using it. Like Emma's filled the drawers. So I've been chipping away at that island slowly. This week was a little nuts. The weekend was pretty productive. On Saturday, I cut up all my stock and I went over to Keith's shop, and we actually, here's the thing. Like, I've made drawer fronts and rail style and panel style doors and fronts before. Most of them have been like dowel joinery or pocket holes. And I was going to do like the dado and rabbit or tongue and groove, whatever, like the classic shaker style. And I had like a cheap bit set, and Keith's like, Flam, I got you. I got the white side bits. So not only that, Flam, it's like family. It's what the cool kids say. See, it makes you sound really old.
But Flam?
Flam.
FLAM?
Bing it. DuckDuckGo that real quick while
Is that a Śmigus-Dyngus thing?
Śmigus-Dyngus. So went over to his shop, and it was one of those things like my first response was pride of like, I've done this before. And then before I even said anything, I immediately went, yes, I will take you up on that. Because he said, just come over to my shop. I have 2 router tables. We can just knock it out. He's got like a benchtop one. I know.
Weird flex.
He's doing okay, guys.
He's got 2 router tables.
So he had like a portable one that he uses. So when he does like drawers and styles, rails and styles for doors and drawers, he just sets both of them up, lines them up perfectly, and he can run everything through both of them. So
fancy.
Basically, like my first part of it was like, I know how to do this, and then I'm like, I want to see how someone else does this, and it was really nice to like. It was a good refresher.
I just want to see if you know how. I know how.
Like Dan playing chicken with Braden today in a chat. He was like, that was a test. Yes, I definitely knew I had craft fair this weekend. You passed, Braden. But it's always, it's always really nice to see how someone else does something. Sometimes I go into defensive mode and I'm like, oh no, I know how to do this. But like, how do you do this? Show me how you do it. Okay, good to know. That's exactly how I do it, or it's something new or whatever. So it was really nice to do it. Plus, he was set up for everything. We did it all together. Like I said, he's got several like sleds and everything for his table saw just to get all that dialed in perfectly too. And it was also nice to be working with someone that like he understands the like having to shoot from different angles and things taking longer because of cameras involved as well. So because this is all for YouTube video too. So
does he do the YouTube?
He's at a small channel.
Oh,
okay. His cat has a huge woodworking channel that he is featured on called
Carrie and Lola Woodworks.
Yeah, it's KJ Sawdust, but it's mainly the cats. Keith is featured.
Nice.
But so it was really nice. I got everything knocked out. Super thankful to him. He actually taught me something new, so I did learn something very new. I have never made a rail and style panel with a thicker panel on the inside. So he actually had me use 1/2 inch stock with a rabbet and put that inside the frame so that the door was thicker. It's got more weight to it. And in the drawer fronts, you don't have to like put a spacer behind it when you screw in the handles. It's already the thickness from the center or 2/3 over to the back of the actual door and drawer front. Does that make sense? So it's not a 1/4 inch panel in a center just floating inside the groove. It's a 1/4 inch with another 1/4 inch on the back of it to
that
make
would
it
make a half
on the back. It's a half. Yeah, it's good math guy.
Hey.
So I've never actually used a 1/2 inch panel, and there is no rattle. It sounds like dense and thick and hardwoody. It's MDF, but it still sounds like way more stout. Because
I've had people tell me I sound dense and thick.
And hardwoody.
Not so much hardwoody, actually.
Because my entire kitchen is just like barely a 1/4 inch panel, and all of my doors rattle. It just feels so.
Yes, I understand what you're talking about there. Yeah. My kitchen's the same way. You could shake the door and you could hear them go.
Yeah, just like tap it and like, you just got that vibration to it. So I hate that.
90s cabinets.
And I was gonna just do 1/4 inch panels inside, and he's like, no, we do 1/2 inch. I'm like, okay. Okay,
when
Russian
did you
mobster.
Turn Russian?
But I'm glad I did that because it's such a difference. So the other thing I did for that project, Keith and I have been going back and forth on like spraying options because we were battling with some HVLP issues on his project that he had. I was spraying some finish too. And then I was like, I want to get a good sprayer. And I mentioned this before. We ended up pulling a trigger on the Graco Ultimate Quick Shot, which is it's a battery powered, like DeWalt battery powered, like a handheld unit that clips into your belt, or you can leave it on a table. It's got a 6-foot hose to a gun, and it's pricey. It's on Amazon, it's like $1,500. If you go through a dealer like Sherwin-Williams or some other places, you can get it a lot lower. My neighbor is a Sherwin-Williams dealer, so I ended up going in there, talked to the guys there. They gave me some tip recommendations, some other stuff, and they had one in stock, so we ended up pulling a trigger on that. And
did he give you the neighborly discount?
It did. Well, he just got like his discount that he can give out or whatever. It was a better deal. It was like
that's good.
It was better. It saved a couple $100, so it was better. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not like we got this thing like half price or anything. Like, we still paid over $1,000 for this sprayer, which is kind of insane. But at the same time, like, I was looking at all the different small to medium projects that I have, and I bought that bigger Graco sprayer for like $300. That's gonna be great for when I do the basement, when I refinish the deck, when I paint the shed. For doing cabinets and things, this thing's gonna be amazing. And you know, you ever like talk about a tool you're getting or you get and you get the 50-50, like people are like, oh, you're gonna love that thing, that's gonna be great. And then the other half's like, yeah, throw that out, buy the Milwaukee one or buy this one from this other cup. It's like very split down the middle.
Have you been on the internet?
Yeah, I know, right? This thing, everyone raves about it. Like nothing but positive comments. Everyone's try this. This is great. This is awesome. You're gonna like this. Try that. Here's a tip. You know, whatever.
I've actually never heard of that until you brought it up. So,
well, they also released just like a new one that runs with a drill. Like you can put a drill on
I
it. You
saw that, but I think
sent that in the chat.
Yeah, I can't remember who's seen it, but yeah, I was like, what? And I was looking for pricing on that because I was just curious.
It's a Graco 360 something sprayer. If you look it up, it's interesting. It's essentially attaches to a drill to spray using the
the drill becomes the motor for the spray turbine.
Very interesting. But I'm gonna be spraying this weekend, so I will let you guys know next week how it performs. But I'm gonna be spraying some thick primer through it and some paint. So much excitement. Gonna get that done, and then put the drawer fronts on, put the side panels on. And the island's gonna need some electrical and little things, but should be getting wrapped up very soon. So much excite. Now I'm working on all this while Emma's away for about a week or 10 days. She's in Florida visiting family because her brother is
currently.
Yeah, right now she's in Florida. She's actually sleeping right now. So say good night.
I was gonna say she was in the
chat in Florida. Yeah. Evan, who was a patron as well. Evan Pressman. He's my brother-in-law. And it's his birthday. He's celebrating another anniversary of 25. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, congratulations, Evan.
Yeah, he's getting
to be 25 again.
Again, right?
And again.
So anyways, it's pTree-Polluza at the house. It's just me. Just us boys, but us boys is just me.
I did that last weekend.
It's kind of nice.
It was nice.
But then you kind of like miss the family, you know, right? So
nope.
Nope. But the nice thing is I have been knocking out like all these crazy honey-do list items because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna surprise her when she gets home. So things are getting done. And then there's other days that I'm not gonna lie, it's good and bad. Like there's days that I'm super productive, then there's other days that like this week I had like a mental health block. Like it's just like I don't know what it was. Especially today. I woke up and all day I was like, well, I have work at 4 and then I have a podcast at 9. So like I can't do anything today because if I can't start a task now. So I kept getting all these little things done, but like nothing substantial was getting finished. And I was like all anxious and weird, and work's been busy this week. It's just been a weird week for me mentally.
I do that same thing. I'll look at my whole day and be like, well, I got to do this thing at noon. So if I start working now, like I'm having to stop in the middle.
Yeah. What's the point?
I can't stand that. I can't. If I go in the shop, I like to go in the shop and be able to work on something from start to finish. Or at least start to an actual end point that I've already like thought about in my head. If I go in the shop and I know there's something that's going to be coming up that's going to interrupt me, I don't want to go out there because I can't focus on it because I'm going to be thinking about both things.
Dan, you and I, we get each other.
Is that
several people I talk to? That's an ADHD thing. So or whatever you want to call it. There's so many different freaking words.
Like today, I had the roofers here. I didn't want to go out in the shop because I was like focused on the roofers.
Yeah, you're distracted all day.
Taking care of their needs, and I was also like trying to keep my pets calm because Max and Paco, especially Paco, did not like all this nonsense.
Yeah.
So like I felt like I was pulled a couple different directions, so I didn't want to go out in the shop and work because I don't want to mess something up.
It's a weird mental thing where it's like, I saw somebody explain this on.
I like to be fully focused on the thing that I'm doing.
Like, okay, it's 1:30 or it's 1:20 right now, and I have a 3 o'clock appointment, but 1:20 is basically 1:30. And the thing is, like, I need to start getting ready, so it's basically 2 o'clock, and I need to be there early. So like, I can't make food right now because I have to leave in an hour and a half.
Same.
It's one of those things. And to anyone that's still confused, like that sounds stupid. Why can't you just work on a task for 30 minutes? Imagine every one of your tasks every day is you taking a relaxing bath where you dim the lights, you light some candles, you draw the bath just right, get the bubbles going, and like you pick your favorite song, you got your book, and you just try to like de-stress. Imagine trying to jump into a bath like that and setting that mood in 10 minutes and then jumping out. Like, you can't. That takes mental time to like prep yourself for that time. Imagine every task during your day is like, you need to get in the right headspace, get all your stuff lined up, focus on this task, and get the thing done. Because like, we'll put in the work, we'll do the work, but like there's like a good bit of like mental preparation for all these tasks.
There really
like,
is. It's true.
I feel like I'm just not making sense, but Dan, you get it.
I get it fully. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I fall behind all the time, because I need to be in that mode. And sometimes I just can't because I got other things going on. Like if I have to go to the post office, well, hell, that's, even though the post office is 5 minutes away, well, that's an hour.
That's an hour round trip.
Yeah.
Easily.
Just
Easily.
It's little things. I fully understand where you're coming from. It's weird, and I'm sure of it, that there are other people out there that are gonna like say, yeah, I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have to do the same thing.
If you feel the same way, please let us know. We're
Please,
not just crazy.
please,
Even call,
please
call
justify
next
us.
week.
Currently.
Call in next week. Tell us that we're not actually crazy. See, I'm the worst with this, with like messages or emails. If I see an email come through and it's like it's important, I'm like, I'll deal with this when I have like,
right, exactly.
the
I feel
mental
the same thing.
fortitude to deal with this because I'm running around right now.
And
That's
what
never.
sucks is you'll open the email or the message or whatever, and it'll be read, and then you won't have a notification there anymore. And by the time you get ready, you're in a place where you can actually respond. You forget about it because it's no longer like a notification on your phone. It's not. There's not a little red dot or whatever.
I try to unread messages, like the unread or mark as unread, whatever, is like the greatest
I have
thing
to
ever.
send so many messages that are like, I'm so sorry, I forgot to respond.
I just saw this message from November. Oh yeah, yes, that was cool.
I feel like such a jerk when I do.
We didn't mean for this to turn into like a mental health episode, but I mean, it's the part of the thing. Like, here's the thing: we don't have a 9 to 5 that we like go. Well, we do also, but like when you do this thing on a side, like your every department, we talk about this all the time. Your social media, your like finances, your administrative, your HR, which is a nightmare for myself. I touch myself all day.
So many sexual harassment lawsuits going on at once.
No, but like, you know, you're every department of your company, and it's really hard to like stay on top of everything. So you want to be in the right space of like, I will do admin stuff later.
I can't do multiple things at once.
Yeah,
like I'm not a multitasker.
When I hear people are like, yeah, just it took 10 minutes to answer some emails, and I'm like in a shop, and I'm like, how did you do that? That's illegal. You're not supposed to. It's supposed to take an hour, right?
Yeah. When I do packaging, I dedicate like several hours to it, because I'm gonna do all these orders, cut all these parts, and then I'm going to come inside and just package them and put on music and get focused.
Get a glass of wine, light a candle,
get in the bath,
kick the kids out.
Got to really be in the mood. But no, I have to be in that mindset, and it's got to be something that I'm going to dedicate some time to. And I don't like to do little bits here and there. It just feels unproductive to me.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Like, oh, I'm just going to go in the shop and spray a quick coat of this paint, whatever. I'm like, no, it's like a mental, like prep. You gotta lay it all out. You gotta make sure the air is right, temperature is good. Barry White's playing, like you spray the coats, whatever, and then you gotta make sure it doesn't dry out. Like there's and again, this sounds dumb to some of you guys, but this is how a lot of us like think. It's just there's so much. I think we're a product of our society now. There's like so much going on that we are pulled very thin with our mental capacity. There's so much going on, and we have to do so many things. Like, the answer to all the messages that we have, like, I have messages that if I ever don't respond to you, I still love you. It's not intentional. I simply just, if it's more than 2 days old, I'm not seeing it until the next time you message me and I go, oh, hey, just saw this response too, blah, blah, blah. Like,
luckily old messages come up whenever somebody sends a new one. Like, oh yeah, I missed that one. Oops. Sorry about that.
But anyways, that's kind of my what's on a bench. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into like a mental health podcast too. But
anyway, tell me about your childhood. How was that?
Well, one thing I will say though, so the new sprayer we got, that Great Ultimate Quick Shot, so many different words there. It comes with a 210 and a 514 fine finish tips. If you have tip recommendations, and I don't mean like, well, if you have sprayer tips, send it my way. But also, like, what tip to actually use for spraying? Like,
nothing more, nothing less, just the tip.
Just a tip, please. Exactly. Let me know what you recommend, because the cool thing is, if you get sprayers right now through Graco, a lot of them qualify for like a free multiple tips. Like some of them are 1, 2, or 3 tips, depending on which one you're getting. So you can get free attachments.
Spot?
No, just like I'm getting a free product that I'm trying to figure out which one to order, because you choose which one you want. It's like, which accessory do I want? Do I want like the 308 or 310, which is what I've kind of been thinking
obviously
about
310 it's bigger than 308.
I know, that's what all the girls say, right? They want a 310. So if you have some recommendations, send them my way, please. I could use the help.
Cool.
But that's about it for my what's on the bench, bro.
Oh, back to my what's on the bench. You know, another thing I did this past week, I went and got the rest
wheels for your truck. I'm telling Kayla.
I went to Braden's shop. So some of you that have been listening for a while know that I bought a bunch of walnut. I think I bought like 1,000 board feet or something like that, somewhere in that neighborhood of walnut this past January. I think.
And Braden's been heating his shop with it.
Yeah. So Braden was kind enough to let me store a bunch of it in his shop, because at the time I did not have a lot of extra space because of, well, issues with my shop. I was able to go to Braden's shop and actually bring home what was left. I think there's like,
you repoed your walnut.
Yeah, there's probably like 150, 200 board feet left of what I had. So it's nice to have it in my shop and not a Braden shop. But now I'm gonna have to replenish it. So we're gonna have to go back and get more. I think maybe store it in Brim's shop.
As long as that place allows you to get it at that price again.
Oh, that price was so good. What did I get it at? Like $350 a board.
Like they paid you to take it out, basically.
Nearly.
Yeah.
It was an amazing price. Hopefully, he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you that deal from now until the end of time."
At least you're no longer driving a Japanese K truck. You can pick up some real lumber now.
Don't even get me started on the Japanese K truck. Yeah, that's it. We can continue on the show. I just wanted to pop back to what's on the bench for that.
Yeah. By the way, you're not allowed to get different wheels for your truck.
Oh,
I really like you and Kayla
me.
Together. I don't need you to have any marital issues because you got new wheels for your truck.
So full transparency.
Oh God, here we go.
Pete and I were talking about this before the show, and I made a response, and Pete had a really, really funny comeback. And we were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna bring this back in the show because that's super funny, and we got to work it in." And I don't remember.
I almost messaged you.
You should have. You should have. I don't remember.
This is literally a conversation we had in between. It wasn't even a pre-show. It was in between the two shows.
Yeah.
And Dan's like, "Yeah, so I'm looking at these wheels," and he's showing me all the different wheels for his truck. I'm like, "You're not allowed to get different wheels for the truck. I can't have you and Kayla like falling out. Like I like you guys together too much." And he's like, "Nah, she'd never get rid of me. I'm a trophy husband." And I go, like, Dan, at best, you're a participation trophy.
That's right. I couldn't remember.
This is a grown man doing his best.
All right. Luckily, my wife doesn't listen to this. So
she is a gem.
Oh my God. She's way too good for me. But yeah, I'm probably going to be getting new wheels and tires. I have to.
Oh my God, no!
I have to. I have to. It's a law of big trucks. You have to get wheels and tires.
No, you're not allowed to.
It's a Nebraska law. It's in the books. I'm telling you.
Speaking of in the books, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, who are you wearing this week?
Oh, I forgot about this thing. Well, let me tell you, I'm wearing a fine t-shirt by Patriotic Pines. Matt over there. Matt Maynard of Patriotic Pines.
It's a matte finish.
He gave me this t-shirt at Workbench Con, and I like it. Normally, this brand of t-shirt, I don't like the way it feels because they feel a little heavy and stiff.
I have opinions. I'll talk about this in a second.
Okay, yeah, but this actually feels really good. So huge shout out to Matt for giving me the shirt. And my hat is my current favorite hat. I've been wearing it a lot lately. It's my Shopsmith hat. These guys still make Shopsmiths. It's still a place.
And hats.
they had a booth at Workbench Con, and I conned the nice lady that was there running the booth to give me a hat, and I've been wearing this thing, and I love this hat. What are you wearing, Peter?
Oh, one of our patrons, Nip Bring.
Oh,
Nip
very
Bring
nice.
Woodworking, the only shirt that I own that has a cat on it. It's in the back. See, it's sort of back here.
Oh yeah, it's in the back.
You can see all this if you're watching the YouTube live stream, youtube.com/anotherwoodshop podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe our videos.
I coordinated my
videos.
background lights with the shirt that I'm wearing, by the way.
That it's green and yellow and red, and you're wearing blue. Dan.
Well, when we started, my lights were blue and purple, and it was like one giant blue screen. So I was like, well, we can't have this.
Wow,
Can't have this.
Big error of a shirt.
So,
well, so here's my hard opinion on this thing. We all talk about like the different shirts we get. We've talked about this in the past. Bella Canvas makes the most comfortable shirts. They're super
absolutely they
light.
do.
They're thin. They're great. They make fine shop shirts. They're great, very comfy, light shirts, but they don't feel like a work shirt. And say what you want about Gildan, and I think actually from color to color, it does kind of feel different on the fabric a little bit, but it tends to be a thicker shirt. Like when you get a Carhartt shirt, it feels like thicker. It feels like a Gildan shirt. It feels like a work shirt. Like you're not gonna snag it on the edge of your table saw on a little like piece of wood sticking out somewhere. It's gonna pull a thread completely out. Like it feels hardy, right?
I don't typically like shirts that feel like they've been starched, and you feel like the Tin Man when you're wearing them.
I know what you mean.
Through your shop, like,
but like,
why is this shirt so stiff?
I know a thicker shirt's not always desired, and like for a while I was like, yeah, like Bella Canvas, the best shirt. But then I started wearing some from other makers that are a little thicker, and I was like, man, this actually feels really good for like, I'm rubbing it up against like hard lumber, and it's just kind of going across the fabric, not pulling it or whatever. And you know, when you get paint or glue on it, it doesn't quite feel like half the shirt is like hard. You know what I'm talking about? You like lean over a cutting board or a table and you got a line across your belly. We've all done it, okay? Just saying.
Don't act like you're better than me. You've done it.
They're like for more like fun shirts or whatever. Like I'm totally for the Bella Canvas, but I've been getting a lot more of like my work shirts, like heavier shirts, in the Gildan style. I do like it. It's a little hardier. It's a little.
Well, we may have seen eye to eye before, but we do not see eye to eye.
I mean, because the one from Patriotic Pines is, I think it's a Gildan shirt, right?
I don't know. Here, did I pull out the tab? Can you see that?
Yes. Yeah, it's upside down.
Flip
it down. Flip it down. No, flip it down. Don't look.
Flip it down.
Yeah, I think that's Gildan. Yeah.
I can't. Maybe. I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, that tag looks like
really
it.
Awkward.
Anyways, it's pros and cons. It's pros and cons for both. Bella Canvas is very comfy, but you know, just if you're thinking about doing apparel, you know, to each their own.
And Pete's not sporting a hat this week.
I'm not. No hat.
He's letting the pTree's hair fly.
I have been not going to get a haircut in a while, and it's showing.
Bro, I need a haircut so bad.
Dude.
Even Patrick Gensel of Patrick Gensel like commented on one of my stories. I think I did a story without a hat on, and he's like, "Oh my god, your hair! I don't think I've ever seen your hair that long." I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty bad." I haven't gotten a haurcut since Workbench Con, like Speaking a week before Workbench Con.
Oh, actually, me too. That's when I got it too, right before Workbench Con. So it's been a month and change. Oh my god.
Yeah, same.
So actually, speaking of hair, I got some backstory from Keith. I got some.
You said tea. Back, and I was like, "Where is this going?" Oh my god!
No, not back. I got some back. Speaking of back hair, I got some tea from Keith Johnson on Bourbon Moth's new hairdo on his face.
The hate crime. Is that what we called it? The hate crime,
dude. It happened to him. This has happened to me before.
Yeah,
Dan, you don't know what this is like, but having a beard, sometimes you use clippers with different settings.
Yes.
And the thing wasn't on properly, or like it wasn't set to the right thing, and he just went, and it reset to 0, and he basically like shaved his face.
Right.
And it was
he mentioned that. I listened.
He mentioned on a podcast.
I listened to it. I hate to admit it, but I listened to it.
You know what? I'll allow it. That was a technicality. It's allowed. It's not like he was like, Oh, I just thought I'd try something new. No.
Didn't we bring that up last week?
We did. Oh, that was huge. It was. We were all
Why
very
is Jason Hibbs' beard in Maker News? Like, it's not that important. It's not a crosscut jig.
I was even telling us to Keith the whole story of like, and then his mid roll, he's got a full beard. What about continuity, man? So dumb.
It's unwatchable.
Unwatchable. Speaking of unwatchable, let's talk about the French.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta play the question.
Wait.
Oh, Black Betty, Ram Lamb. There it is.
I guess that'll do. So our ambassador, aka Malcolm, the voice of AWP, went to France because he just had his daughter and his wife and him went to France, and he was in Paris, beautiful Paris, the croissant capital of the world, and he met up with one of our other listeners. You might know him, Thomas from TSG Makes.
He changed his IG handle.
Frenchman.
First of all,
he did.
I was trying to tag, so I reposted a story.
It's like Le Croissant now or something like that.
Yeah, I reposted the story that they tagged us in, or they tagged us in a reel, and I was going to repost it, and I was trying to tag his account, TSG Makes, and I was like, where the hell is that account?
I know.
Why can't I find it? And
it's like,
yeah, he renamed his account.
Right? I need
La
to
Croissant or something. I don't know.
It's something like that. It's
very French.
It is L'Atelier Boy.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what it is.
L'Atelier Boy. So bad at this. Thomas, what does it mean? Please help. Please advise. But anyways, they did a little video, and Malcolm pitched this to me like weeks ago, and I was giggling like a schoolgirl on the phone. I need you guys to watch this. We'll throw it in the show notes. But essentially, the premise of the video is Malcolm is there to do a promo for the podcast, which we didn't ask him to do, and we appreciate immensely.
No, he totally did this on his own.
That's why I love him so much.
Super awesome. We're very grateful.
And Malcolm's essentially like, so to try to get more of a French audience, I'm going to just promote it in English, and Thomas is going to be kind enough to translate. So Malcolm just talks about like the Witch Up podcast, a podcast about blah, blah, blah. And then Thomas is quote unquote translating in French. But what he's saying in this English subtitles is like, this man walked into my house and threatened me. Please, I want to get rid of him. Go, I guess, watch this podcast. And he's like holding up a sign. This is help me. So
great. It's
great.
Absolutely great. Go watch it.
It's awesome.
Fantastic.
Plus, like you know what? Beyond it's funny, beyond the whatever, like how insane is it? Me and Dan were talking about this in a pre-show. How insane is it that two men that listen to this two random human beings on this planet that listen to our podcast happen to meet up on a different continent, and the only thing they have in common is literally me and Dan.
Well, that, and they're both like makers, woodworkers.
Well, of course, yes. But
yeah,
like,
I mean,
that's how the connection was made. It blows my mind.
That is so damn cool. So damn cool.
Oh
I'm
my
super
God, so
proud
awesome.
to be a tiny part of it. It's so cool. Warms
Both
my
great
heart.
people. Well, speaking of which, they sent in a voicemail, which if it's okay with you, Dan, I'm gonna play.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, let's do it.
French.
Bonjour. Welcome to An American Woodworker in Paris. I'm Malcolm, and my host is Thomas.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hey guys, what a week. I don't even know where to start. I don't really have a question for tonight. I just want to thank you guys for the t-shirts and also for making this podcast. I found it randomly one day because I just wanted to listen to something while sending, and a few months later someone from the internet crossed the Atlantic, escaped from his family in Paris to make silly videos and play with hardwoods with me. By the way, Malcolm, I know you'll be listening to this. Thanks again for everything. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. Even if I struggled, even if I struggled switching to English sometimes. Actually, I do have a question for you guys. What makes this community as awesome as it is, unlike others? Is there actually a hitman that removes bad wood freelancers? Alright, have a good podcast. Bye.
All right, I caught 75% of that.
Whoa, hold on to your pants because I'm gonna translate.
Okay, thank you. I love you, Toma, but I'm really bad at understanding some people. Pete, sometimes I can't even understand.
He says, I do have a question for you guys. What makes this community as awesome as it is unlike others? Is there actually a hitman that removes bad woodfluencers?
Oh, okay.
And yeah, what do you think happened to Nick Key?
you know,
oh,
too soon. We don't talk about it. We don't.
He just stepped away. No, there is no hitman wink officially that takes care of this in any way. There's no John Wick of woodworking like that.
Actually, there is a John Wick of woodworking. It's literally John Wicks.
Judge John Wicks. So there's Drew Witt of Witworks. It's just a pun on Wetworks. If you've watched any spy movies, you know what that stands for. No, there is not. The thing is, here's the honest truth here. If you're kind of a butthole, you're just not gonna make friends in this community. You might be well known if you make enough noise, but like, if you're kind of a butthole, you're not gonna make friends. That's all it is. People tend to congregate around. Like, here's the reason why this community is so different, and we talked about this in a pre-show. As well with Dan and this photographer community. And like, I had a community of friends that like were like gamers and played a lot of games together. And like, even that wasn't as welcoming and positive as making it. Because this is literally where everyone's therapy is this thing. And
it didn't feel as welcoming as this community.
So
in general,
no, there's no hitman. People just like, they shoot themselves in the foot by not being nice.
We're not going to officially time out. I just want to say time out real fast. Can you hear the raccoons outside right now? They're freaking out. You don't hear them?
No.
Okay, good. Continue.
Okay, with it.
Nebraska thing. No big deal.
Raccoon, like Thunderdome basement, whatever. Wasn't that one of the episodes?
Yeah, it was the chicken leg raccoon fight.
That's right.
The restaurant here in Omaha.
But to mine really is that's all it is. And I really like, I'm actually curious to hear. I would love for you to call in and talk about how is this, obviously this is a very international community with online and whatnot, but it is predominantly US, tends to be English speaking countries, but not so much. Like I see like Polish woodworkers and I see a lot of Middle Eastern stuff too.
I follow a couple German woodworkers.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily interact with them, but I look at their content and it's fun. I think I follow a couple Spanish guys or Latino guys.
I'm kind of curious, like, is there that kind of community in France? Like, it has to be.
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. I mean,
Toma, I would love to know, like, and other people that listen in other countries, like our Brazilian listeners and the ones from like Israel and other.
Look,
other
we know we have
like
at least
Poland,
2 listeners in Sweden.
At least. So if you're in Sweden, and like, can you tell us about your like maker community? Do you guys have that? Because I'm really curious.
We get charting like listings every week, and we're for some reason we're always listed in Sweden. So I know we got a couple listeners.
Yeah, we're kind of a medium deal up there, at least for the the few English speaking podcasts in Sweden. But I'm curious to see, because like, here's the thing: we complain that we don't have enough get-togethers here in the US. Like it's to the point where we're like, oh, 2 major events and like 50 smaller ones, not enough. I barely see Dan, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's other countries that have never seen other makers ever at an event.
Right.
You know, so I'm kind of curious, like, what is the international crowd like? And you know what? Just because I'm feeling zazzy here, I'll allow Canada. You could be international. I want to know what the kids, I do genuinely want to, like, what's it like in Canada?
You want to know why I know that's international? Because it costs me more to ship up there.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Just saying.
But like, I'm curious, what's the deal with Canada and makers? I know obviously you guys are a big part of we're all one community up here in North Americas, but like physically, are there events? Are you guys going to these meetups? Is something happening? Because like when obviously Maker Camp happens, we actually get quite a few Canadians that come down. We get Canadian Pat. That's it. End of list. No, but
didn't Scott Walsh come to Maker Camp, or was that Workbench Con?
Isn't Cochrane Kayaks, isn't he in Canada?
Possibly.
Yeah, and then oh my god, Evan Isn't Evan in Canada?
Evan is in Toronto,
which is legally Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a
He's
couple
either
of them.
in Toronto or Vancouver. I don't know Canada very well, and I just scratched my mic, so sorry about the sound.
Here's US, Canada, but it's also Alaska here.
But I don't know where like the cities are. Like I don't know if Toronto and Vancouver or I don't know where they're at.
Yeah,
or Quebec.
Quebec.
Quebec's a place.
Quebecois. That's where Shoresy was filmed.
I know. Right? All I know is I think Vic from the Stump Shop, I think he's in the Toronto area.
He's in the Toronto area. Yep.
Scotty Walsh is as well.
Yeah, they're in that area. Yep.
Yes, that's all I know.
They're in my one true time zone. Yep.
Oh, is that east?
Yep.
I see. Not the true time zone, but I know where you're at. So I did
tomato,
the math.
potato.
I did the math. All right. What now?
Well,
did we answer his question?
Well, we did. There's no assassins. Just people shoot themselves in the foot if they're not good to the community. If they're not nice,
right?
Or if at the very least you have to be funny.
The community has a good way of weeding out the bad apples. I feel like. Yeah. It really does. Like
it does.
If you're just like a jerk, I think the community has a way of like kind of getting rid of you slowly. I've seen it happen. So.
And here's the thing, Dan and I, and I'm not going to name any names in this, but like Dan and I have had conversations of like, that guy seems like a butthole. He's kind of rude, or he seems like really show offy or whatever. And then like, but like their content still like, you go like, this guy's funny. Okay. All right. This is good. This is fine. This is fine. Like they're still like, they might not be like involved in all the community stuff, might not be all hugs and high fives and stuff, but they still contribute to the community in some way. The people that are just straight up rude and not good to the community, they're not part of the community.
Yeah.
Like, some of my closest friends, like most of my closest friends and best friends and what I consider family now are people I met through Instagram, which is insane.
That's
like,
weird.
Dan's like a brother to me.
You go back 15 years, 20 years, when your parents were telling you, don't give out your name on the internet.
The opposite now.
Now I'm just giving out my address, my social security number. Hey, you want a credit card? I got you.
Like it's crazy. It really is crazy that we have this like close, like if I'm ever in France, like I'm hitting up Thomas. Honestly, if I'm ever in like Denmark or Poland, I might just be like, yo, like you're like a 2-hour flight for me. Like it's not because it's so close to
I want to go to France, but can I sleep in your garage to save a little dough? Come on, man, help a brother out. We're a community.
There's a lot of shavings. Also, Thomas put in some work this week. Like I know, like obviously they worked on a mallet with Malcom, because he had to fight off Malcom with something. Like he tricked him. He turned a mallet with him and was like, "Get out of my house." But he also he was doing a story I think today, and he's like, "Oh, I turned all of these yesterday," and it pans quickly to a shelf of like 50 like what looked like small planters or cups or something. Like, oh my goodness, put in some work, yeah. So good work, Thomas. Keep crushing it. But again, please call in if you guys have any like your experiences of the maker communities abroad, or
look at you calling for international calls. I love it.
Canada asterisk.
We don't give out like calling cards anymore, right? That's not a thing. So like you don't have to call international. I mean, you could just email us a voice memo. You don't have to actually call.
I know it's a joke, but like that's how we called my family back in Poland when we first moved here. Like we went to a payphone and had to get a card, and it would beep when you're like about to be out of time. Like, okay, I love you guys. Oh, damn it, I hung up.
We had a baby, eats a boy. Remember that?
Didn't we make the collect call joke the other day?
Yeah, I think we did. I can't remember. Last week was a little bit of a blur, so I don't recall.
Man, you youngins, you don't know. You just don't
That's
know.
One of the greatest commercials ever. We had a baby, eats a boy.
Oh boy.
That's right up there with hey, I just shipped my pants last week. Whatever that commercial was. I think it was
my
Old
pants.
Navy.
Old Navy.
Was that Old Navy commercial?
Something like that.
So great. Anyway, did we have any other call-ins this week?
We didn't, which is very few call-ins, but we encourage you guys
That's
to
all right.
record a voice memo or send us an email with a written question like a savage, and that's okay. We will use ChatGPT to make that into an audio file. We've done that in the past.
maybe people aren't calling in because they know that we talk too dang much as it is. Because
No,
we're already
call in more.
in like an hour and a half
I
already.
promise to talk less if you guys call in.
Oh, I'm not talking less. I'm going to talk more.
Shut up. We're trying to trick them.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But don't feel like you just have to call in with questions. Obviously, you guys know everything, right? You don't need us. Who are we to answer questions for you? But if you guys want to comment on anything that we did, I think we had like a segment that we tried to do, like a
What do we call it? Offcuts?
offcuts. Because
No, some other podcast called it kickback. We can't do that.
Yeah, we couldn't do kickback.
I think we called it offcuts.
Snipe.
But there's a
Just call it snipe.
snipe.
Snipe. You know, snipey comments. So
I think we called it offcuts. But here's the thing. Like, there's another podcast, another woodworking podcast out there called Offcuts.
Yeah,
Or
so
off the cuts, or off the.
I know there's an off the cuff.
Off something.
Is it off the cuff or off the cut?
Off the cup. I don't know. It's off something. Yeah, it's out there.
Craft will never die, right?
It won't.
It won't. Oh,
It won't, because we won't let
wrong.
that joke die. Anyway.
But yeah, if you want to call in with some kind of comments, questions, concerns, or just like rebuttals, or just tell us about your international maker thing. And then honestly, like, also, if you're in the US, I'll throw you a bone. Call in with some events that you guys are going to be visiting this year. It's still early in the year. Like, we're definitely Workbench Con, Maker Camp. Those two always happen for us. If you guys have some other stuff planned that we should be putting on our map as well, we'd love to know about it. Yeah, tell us, because like, if we can swing it, we might actually do some more trips with you guys. So that'd be fun.
Well, not with them, but
Well,
maybe to the same place.
We'll all shove into an Airbnb.
I don't know. We're still talking about strangers on the internet for the most part. Let's not get weird.
ASL, Dan.
Okay. 45. Yes, please.
Location.
Oh, L was for location. I had to think there for a second. I was like, what is L? Nebraska.
It's angle, stance, and length.
Mm.
I don't know.
Oh, it's all geometry. Okay, cool. Cool. Anyway, I think that's it for this show.
Get us out of here, Dan.
At least this episode.
Hey,
not it for the show in
thanks
general.
to our patrons and
Our sponsor, PWN. Go check them out. There'll be a link in the show notes. We're super happy to have on PWN as a sponsor. You're going to be hearing more about those fine folks in the coming weeks.
yeah,
Also,
stay tuned. Check out our content. We're going to be showcasing some of their stuff on our channels too. So
yes. Big shout out to everybody who listens. Shout out to our patrons. If you like what you hear here. If you like what you've been hearing on this thing, share it with everybody you know. Share it any way you can. Share it by carrier pigeon. Share it by telegram, by fax. Can you share a podcast by fax? I don't know. Give it a shot. Let us know how it goes. Call in and let us know. Share it however you can. Word of mouth. Take out a newspaper ad, a classified ad.
write it on a piece of wood and then angle your table saw, open up the garage door, and kick back that piece out the garage door with the
Across
podcast
the
info.
neighborhood.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways that this show can grow, and this show has actually grown quite a bit. Did we talk about how we crossed over 500,000 downloads?
Oh my god, we have not 500,000 downloads on this
Officially,
podcast.
this past week, we hit 500,000 downloads.
Wow, wee wah. And only 3 away from episode 200.
Wild.
Also,
Do the math.
technically, with the Christmas specials we've done, half episodes,
Well,
we're
not
already
doing-
over 200.
No, we're not doing it.
But like, it's not the real number we track.
Yeah, it's not
We're
the
at
real
197.
number. So, speaking of 200, you might want to stay tuned in. We got something special planned for episode 200. We got some announcements. We're probably going to do some giveaways. And, we're going to be our normal selves. And it's always a good time to hang out with us. So,
Oh, did she
episode
write
200.
back to you? She'd like wrote back and like they're all gonna be on. Okay, never mind. Forget
This got
everything I
weird.
said.
Nope. I think that's it. That's all I have. That's all I have. Let's wrap this up. It's getting awkward.
All right, I love you. Bye, 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 bye.
Oh, that was abrupt.
You said wrap
All
it
right,
up.
love you a long time.
Okay. Bye.